Why is it so funny seeing Russell Crowe on a Vespa? Look at you go, mate. Let's look into the Pope's Exorcist. Alright, so The Pope's Exorcist is a new horror movie that's just been recently released. So basically we follow Father Amarth, who's played by Russell Crowe, who is investigating a possessed child in a home in Spain by an American family, but this home that he's investigating isn't all what it seems. Now, Russell Crowe being part of this movie, I felt like if it was played by another person, this movie wouldn't be as watchable as it was when I saw it. Now, Russell Crowe playing other foreign characters now, like, I do feel like it does suit him in this role, and when I do watch him in this movie, like, I do love his characteristics where he is joking around a little bit, you know, he takes the stuff seriously, but has a bit of a light side to it, and also I do love seeing him use, you know, like religious artifacts or just certain items to use for the exorcisms that he needs to perform. And it is interesting seeing his character involved in this movie, especially as well, he is playing a real life priest that was around, as this movie is based off files from the Vatican. Now look, we've had a lot of exorcism movies, like definitely the best one is obviously The Exorcist, and like, it's a no-brainer because it's the first type of one that we've ever had. But yeah, when you are watching this movie, like, you can't help but to sort of notice that, yeah, like, it is just another, you know, like, typical exorcism movie. But with that being said, though, like, I was not really bored watching this movie. In fact, like, I actually thought that it was better than what I thought it initially was going to be, but that's kind of, like, sort of taking it with a bit of grain of salt. Now look, when it comes to the exorcism movies, you know, that we've had before, like, it's always going to be sort of the same thing, you know, it's going to be like contorting bodies, you know, like possessed people climbing up ceilings. There's a lot of horror stuff happening in the movie, which, to be honest, like, watching this movie, I was pretty intrigued and entertained watching this movie, but I do have a couple of flaws that I do wish they had a bit more, which could have made the movie a bit better. Now, for one, while I did like watching the story that was being sort of told in this movie, I do wish that there were like a bit more jump scare scenes involved in this movie. Like, there are a couple of jump scare scenes, but there aren't as many as I would have thought there would have been in. And with the way that, you know, this film has been made, like, there is a lot of gore. Like, I mean, the director of this did make Overlord, which I do appreciate, and I do love, you know, those like body horror type of shots that were happening throughout this movie, but I was expecting a bit more jump scares, and even if there was like a scene that had an opportunity to make a jump scare, like, I felt like the opportunities were a bit missed for that. Another thing that I found as well too is that the ending of the film, like, sort of like towards like the last 30 minutes of the movie, it did feel like a pretty generic, like, Hollywood style type of ending for this type of movie. But it's not that bad of an ending to watch, but you can just kind of tell when you're watching it. But that's just my personal opinion of how I saw it. But look, don't get me wrong with like those type of flaws. I do love the fact that Russell Crowe, when you are watching him playing Father Amarth in this movie, along with the other priests that's involved in this movie, I do love sort of having the feel that I'm kind of watching The Exorcist again. Like, you're watching him performing these, you know, like religious type of practices that they've got to do. You hear him doing prayers. You're seeing them use relics and artifacts and also items that are for religious purposes to perform an exorcism. And like I said as well, like, with Russell Crowe being involved in this movie, I felt like, yeah, like I said, if there was another actor that was involved in this, yeah, I feel like that we would have been watching a completely different movie. Now, overall with this movie, like I said, the positives that I can give to this movie is that Russell Crowe is in it and is portraying Father Amarth, and that, you know, I felt like if there was another person portraying Father Amarth in this movie, yeah, I wouldn't have even bothered watching this movie. I do wish that there were a bit more jump scares involved in this movie. I do like the body horror imagery involved in this movie, and like I said as well, the last 30 minutes of the ending, it did feel a bit too Hollywood, you know, like too much of a Hollywood ending style type of climax towards the end of the movie. But overall, like, I was not bored of the movie, but again as well, I was not really in a rush to watch this movie. But for this movie, for everyone, I do feel like if you're a person who is going to watch this movie for jump scares, you're either going to hate it, But if you like your body horror stuff, you are going to like it. But it's a movie I'll probably watch maybe once in a while. So what do you guys think of The Pope's Exorcist? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow my socials up here as well. And as always, as I say at the end of these videos, get me some goddamn M&Ms.
Miss Hoover, the movie's over.
Down in front!